This is a Statue of Liberty Lego set. And you know the deal. Rather than just building it at home, I'm going to build it at the Statue of Liberty itself. The set was incredible, and the location even more so. Every detail was captured perfectly. Well, almost every detail. The face is kind of, minimalist, but building it here was wonderful. So wonderful, in fact, that I'm now going to build the rest of New York City at, on, or in the real-life locations, including landmarks, transport, minifigures, and pop culture icons. So after finding the perfect souvenir, it was back on the ferry and onto the tallest building in the entire United States, One World Trade Center. So this is a New York City skyline set, and I'm going to build it all the way up there. Whoa. The lift to the top was unbelievably cool, with interactive walls showing a time-lapse view of New York through the ages, and the present-day view wasn't bad either. But then I spent the next hour with my head down, completely ignoring it. Still, this is now the 5th skyline set I've built in the city it's based on, after London, Paris, Venice, and Singapore, and like the others, it does an excellent job portraying its landmarks in miniature, with the tiny Statue of Liberty, the Empire State Building, the Chrysler Building, One World Trade Center itself, and the Flatiron, although I couldn't spot that one from here. We'll get to it later. For now though, I could spot our next location, Brooklyn Bridge. Here I'd be building the New York postcard set, but first took a walk across the bridge itself. You would have thought that after almost 8 years being a YouTuber, I'd have learned to be less awkward on camera by now, but no. Anyway, the build was very windy and very fun, and again just a pleasure to make in its real life location. There was Brooklyn Bridge obviously, as well as another Statue of Liberty, Empire State Building, and One World Trade Center, which I think arguably looks better here than on the skyline set. Alright, to get to the next location we're gonna need to get a subway. Not that subway, but I won't say no. And if I'm going to get the subway, obviously I'm going to have to build it too. I had to get this set imported from abroad and pay an absolute fortune, and even then it was used, boxless and missing pieces. Oh, and literally when I was in New York, LEGO announced they were releasing a new version. Fantastic. But I can't complain, seeing it there as its real life counterpart whizzed by made it all worth it. Which brings us nicely to that building we couldn't see earlier, the Flatiron. Oh wait, it's covered in scaffolding and we still can't see it. Well, this is what it's supposed to look like. You're just gonna have to use your imagination. Now, I've always wanted to do this. Taxi! I loved riding New York's taxi cabs. Not only did it make me feel very fancy and important, but they're an icon of the city. I could ride around just staring out the windows all day long and not get bored. But if I'm riding a cab, obviously I'm gonna have to build one too. And if I'm building a cab in a cab, well, we're gonna need a theme song.
Building a cab in a cab in a cab in a cab. Building a cab in a cab in a cab in a cab, yeah. We're driving past the landmarks, building a toy from Denmark.
Actually, it's not a toy, it's a highly sophisticated interlocking brick system.
But anyway, I built it whilst riding around New York.
There, we've arrived at our next stop, the Empire State Building. An icon of New York, it's visible from all over the city, and claims to be the world's most famous building. Now I don't know about that, but either way they had a poster showing the LEGO set in the lobby, which made me really excited to get started. And you're not going to believe this, there was another interactive lift, showing the building's construction in the 1930s. It was built at a rate of 4.5 stories a week, which is crazy. Although not to brag, I built it in just 60 seconds. And then this one, and then this one. LEGO also sell this mosaic set, and the idea is to make yourself in pixel form. The New York stores, however, also offer custom templates, including one of the Empire State, so I built that too. Anyway, after completing 4 side quests, it was time for the big one, and they wouldn't let me build it up here. The only suitable alternative was a pizzeria at the base, and I'm not going to say no to that. Filming the set here was glorious, and I'm only partially saying that because of the food. It's made of precisely 1 billion beige grill pieces, and a faithful replica of what was for 40 years the world's tallest building. Next we head to another tall beige building, the Rockefeller Center. In fact, it's a complex of 19 buildings also from the 1930s, including shops, offices, TV studios, and more. And you guessed it, I'm gonna build it all the way up there. And you guessed it again, it had yet another interactive lift. The view was easily the best of all 3 buildings I've been up. And come to think of it, it would have made a lot of sense to build the Empire State up here and vice versa. But oh well. Weirdly, this time I was allowed to build up there, or at least I wasn't asked to stop, and despite being astonishingly beige, I inexplicably like this set. There is a single gold stud, intended to represent the iconic fountain at the base, and this building here is a LEGO store. Although the set's now over a decade old, at one point you would have been able to buy the set in the building the set's based on, and then build it there too, which for some reason I find pretty cool. Right, we've only got 2 landmarks left, and I promise you neither of them are beige, but sadly there are no more interactive lifts. First is the UN headquarters, a large ominous block of concrete and glass, and finally the Guggenheim. This building is a masterpiece, the inside of which is possibly the coolest art gallery in the world. I quickly want to shout out David who worked there. He saw me filming from across the street and was incredibly kind to me. So that concludes the landmarks, and this video's been way too dense and word heavy for my liking, so allow me 12 seconds to show you some of the cool stuff I bought.
Wow! It's so shiny! How many did you buy?
Oh my word, that is so cool!
It's so colourful!
Wow, that's cool.
Amazing!
That was my favourite.
These are just some of the best things ever.
There we go. I hope you're suitably refreshed because I'm going to talk incessantly for another 6 minutes. Remember, you are free to click away at any point. Okay, let's do minifigures. I built a pair of baseball players at the Yankee Stadium, a businessman at the New York Stock Exchange, Elphaba outside Wicked on Broadway, and a waitress at the famous Stardust Diner, where the waitstaff sing and confetti gets in your food. Then there was a New York police officer beside a real one, and they even turned the lights on especially when they saw me filming a police car, before Van Gogh next to probably his most famous painting, Starry Night, and Winnie the Pooh and friends outside the New York Public Library, home to the original teddies owned by the real-life Christopher Robin. I built the Home Alone cast beside the Plaza Hotel from the movie, the Avengers with the view of the skyline, and lastly the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on top of a manhole cover. The manholes here can often be seen steaming, thanks to New York's extensive underground steam network, and sometimes they even put these giant funnels on top to ease the pressure. As the minifigures have demonstrated, New York is the setting of so many movies, TV shows, and just icons of pop culture in general. So in this final section, that's precisely what we're going to explore. First up, Spider-Man. I started by building this Statue of Liberty set on a quiet bench in Battery Park. Now, building Lego in public earns you a lot of weird looks, and I've kind of grown immune to it by now. But as I was building this set, an entire Spanish tour group came and sat either side of me, and I felt exceptionally awkward. Then it started to rain and everyone left. And talking of awkward, here's another clip of me still not quite knowing where to look. I sought shelter and finished the set on the Staten Island ferry. So here it is with the real Statue of Liberty in the background, looking decidedly drearier than last time I was here. I really hope it stops raining soon. It didn't. It rained non-stop for several days. And whilst I was frustrated at first, it turns out New York is actually kind of beautiful in the rain. Times Square came alive with puddles and reflections, and everyone seemed to have an umbrella but me. The skyscrapers rose deep into the rain clouds, and the taxi rides were even more enjoyable than normal, warm, cozy, and safe from the wet and cold. But not for long. I had Lego to build, specifically another Spider-Man set, the Daily Bugle. Yep, we're doing this one again. I believe it's the 3rd time now. The instructions are absolutely soaking. Ugh. Oh, I can't even turn specific pages, this is a nightmare. Oh, there's a dry bit. There's a reason I chose to build it again though. I think this is possibly the most New York Lego set that exists. Granted, it's fictional, although I swear I saw Spider-Man wandering around Times Square, but so many parts of it so perfectly captured the city. There's the news kiosks, black and silver fire hydrants, manhole covers, classic fire escapes, water towers, precariously balanced aircon units, and even the sign itself is so typical of those found atop buildings all over the city. The view made the rain and repetition worth it, even if it was one of the only buildings I could actually see the top of. The set also includes its own yellow taxi, which I definitely prefer, and this is undoubtedly my favourite shot of the entire video. A brief tangent, people often ask how I get these sets home afterwards, so I thought I'd take this chance to demonstrate. I also built one final Spider-Man set, a New York bodega, an authentic tribute to those found on just about every street corner. I really love the way the traffic lights here swing. I can only assume it's to do with wind resistance. Next we visit Sesame Street. Now obviously Sesame Street is fictional, although I did spot Elmo hanging out with Spider-Man in Times Square. So there's currently 4 Elmos, I think 5 Spider-Men? This is wild. Regardless, even if fictional, it's fictionally set in New York and very distinctively so. And in 2019, they officially renamed a street to make it real. And I must say, it's a very lovely street, with a very lovely street sign. Now remarkably, I've managed to go this whole video so far without seeing Central Park, so I think it's time to change that. This place was amazing, and all the turtles made it seem unexpectedly exotic. First I built the John Lennon mosaic set, rather fittingly beside the Imagine mosaic, installed in the park in his memory. I also built the John Lennon minifigure outside the nearby Dakota building where he lived. Next it was on to the Friends Central Perk set, overlooking the iconic fountain from the show's intro. Well, actually it's not. That was filmed on a studio backlot in LA, and everyone just thinks this is the fountain when it's completely unrelated, but it was a lovely place just to sit and take in the springtime. The set was detailed and full of references, and although the place it's based on doesn't exist in real life, there is another Friends set that does, sort of. This is the Friends apartment set, and this is a real life Friends apartment, or at least where they filmed the exterior shots. Again, it's overflowing with Easter eggs, and it felt really quite surreal being here in person. I wonder if anyone who actually lives there has ever built the set. And finally, there's only one place left to visit, but I promise you I've saved the best till last. The dream set I've been saving for this precise moment for literally years. Oh wait, I passed a pancake house, and I'm not gonna say no to that.
Do you want some more coffee?
Oh, yes please. Now it's time. This is a Ghostbusters Firehouse, and this is it in Lego form.
How cool is this?
This set is almost a decade old, now goes for over triple its original price, and is the white whale set for so many Lego fans. It's enormous, opening up to reveal an incredibly intricate interior. The build is a near perfect recreation of the real Firehouse, with every detail matched meticulously and masterfully, including those traffic lights I'm so fond of. And there's even a Ghostbusters sign in real life too. But something's missing, the Ecto one, so I built that too.
Oh, they just look so good together.
And that's just about it. I want to acknowledge how incredibly lucky I am, and grateful that I get to do this for a living. I'm already hard at work on the next one, and awkward as ever. Seriously, where am I supposed to look? For now, I actually have some behind the scenes footage for the first time ever, so please enjoy whilst I shout out some of the generous donors to my recent charity water campaign. A massive thank you to Neo and Ayla Dean, Ree, Elliot and Mauser, Dusty, Jacob and Tommy Pinder, Aspen, Willow and their humans, Felix who donated his pocket money, Luke Driscoll, Sloan and Shannon D'Souza, Kai and Yuli, Jackson Stroop, Blair and Carter Matthews, Harrison Gurley and parents Stacey and Michael, Zoltan and Louise, Emmerich and Cat Tails, Oliver from Massachusetts, Sebastian and Audrey, Reed, Kelsey and Matt, Skylar Balzano, Matilda K, Potato and Note J, Julie, Addison and Kit the Cat, Mitch, George and Amelia, Logan and Cat's Indy and Mellow, Oscar, Cat, Ginger and Neuron, Flynn, Jesse, Maisie, Bell and Cleopatra, Gavin, Rachel and Cuddly Pepe, Daniel and James C. Rutan, Eve S, Brooks, Walter and Mittens, Victor, Aaron, Andrew, Ezra, Mason and Caleb Sullivan, Claire, Dave, Sam and Tom, Tiffany, Henry, Shadow and Casper, Benjamin, Helen and Matthew, and Audrey. Thanks a million.